All right, so a little bleed over from the MCC in the first 2 days of the One Shepherd semester. In my previous semesters, the Ruck March had always been on the Wednesday before the FTX, but they switched it up this time and they did it Monday morning. And the reason for that is to give the WBC a chance to participate in the Ruck March. And simple 2.5 mile ruck march from the Cmtc up to the hardball and back. And the purpose of this ruck march is to give everybody a chance to put on their gear, underweight, see how it rides, see how it feels, and give people the opportunity to adjust their gear before they step off in the FTX in a few days. So as the third day started, which is the first day of the STX, PT is still a thing. Yesterday we ruck marched, as I just talked about, but today we're back to bayonet practice. Those of us who had already been issued rifles, use their rifles. Those in the MCC that hadn't been issued their equipment yet, they use pugil sticks.
All right, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Sergeant.
All right, hey, today's class and lesson is going to be over the ORP, the Objective Rally Point, all right? We always kind of get, when it comes to missions, we always kind of focus on the objective, right? What is the actual mission? But there's a lot of in-between. There's getting there, okay? And there's getting there safely so that we can execute the mission and be successful, all right? So today we're going to focus on one of those things that's in between our objective, all right? And that is the ORP.
So, after morning chow and the completion of our PT, we went into our classes. And our first class, as you can tell, was on the ORP, taught by Brent 0331. And we had a really excellent classroom session here. Brent did an excellent PowerPoint on all the parts of the ORP. And then he set up a sand table that you see here in the foreground and briefed everybody through that part of the mission.
Okay, so let's step over here. Everybody gather around this sand table. Everybody see?
Negative.
All right, bring it in so you can see. We've got some area over here.
Shorter people get in towards the center.
All right, so this block of C4 is a key terrain feature, like a hill, a big hill or something, okay? So we established that as our tentative ORP. This is us. We're gonna stop 200 to 400 meters in good visibility and 100 to 200 in poor visibility, right?
Roger.
All right, so we stopped, and what are we in? 360 security, okay? If we got our automatic rifles, okay, light support weapons, if we have those, we're going to put them at like the 12 and the 6, okay? Our most likely avenues of enemy approach, if we have some.
The 12 is always in the direction of the objective?
Yes. Okay. At this point, the patrol leader, his compass man, and one member from each fire team are going to push up to the ORP, or tentative ORP, right? They get there, they clear it. What does he do?
It leaves two.
Leaves 2, right? Back to back. Then what?
Returns
back to the ORP.
He returns back to the ORP.
But to the rest of the squad.
Yep. And he briefs them. All right? So then he gets it. He gets everybody. Brings them up. And then what do they do?
security.
360, right?
Yeah.
360 security. All right, you guys get it. 360 security with all these guys. All right. So they send a 360 there. All right. Then what? There's recon.
If I got
Who's
one,
he taking with him?
Compass
the
man.
compass man
Okay.
and the security
Team
element.
members.
Okay. So they go up.
To the objective.
Do recognize the objective?
The objective is still there.
They confirm that the objective is there. All right. They
Nothing
confirm their
changed.
observation plan, whatever it was. All right. We know it's there. What does this become now?
Now becomes the ORP.
So ORP now. All right. So now they come back. We can leave a guy or two to maintain observation of it, of the objective. Okay, they come back to the patrol. PL issues the frago, disseminates information from the recon if contact wasn't made, and they make final preparations before continuing operation. Alright, so once that happens, these guys go in, they conduct their raid, right? Or whatever the mission was. In this case, let's say it was a raid to destroy everything. Destroyed everything, we come back. Now what do we got to do?
Check for
Account for
sensitive
everyone.
items.
What's that?
Account for everybody.
Count for everybody, what else?
Sensitive items.
Sensitive equipment.
Yep,
Reorganize if
Chain
necessary.
of command.
bingo, we got them all. Count for soldiers' equipment after actions on objective are complete. Reestablish chain of command and check for sensitive items. Okay? At that point, we go home.
We should have taken the flag down.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
Easy peasy, right? Alright, now, if we're in a time crunch, what do we do? Remember when all these guys are back here? And this is our tentative ORP.
We make a hasty ORP.
What does that mean?
You find the closest place that will work.
Occupied
Take
by
it by
force.
force.
Everybody goes and does
So
it.
everybody goes in instead of fixing.
We're essentially eliminating the leader's recon of the ORP ahead of time.
Right.
Everybody's coming in here. We're just going to
At
set up
once.
a 360, wagon wheel, cigar shape, whatever. All right, and that becomes, we take the ORP by force, and then we roll right into leader's recon on the objective. All right. Ideally, we want to conduct a leader's recon of the ORP, but time might say otherwise. Right? All right. Let's get back over here real quick. All right. Practical application. Situation. Local villager has informed us that a squad plus size element of DLF, which is Turkestani Liberation Front, fighters have been observed stockpiling weapons in an old abandoned building in the vicinity of grid 1946-4818. I say again, 1946-4818. Did everybody get all that? Mission! No later than 1100. Alpha Company 1 Shepherd will conduct a raid on the suspected DLF weapons cache in order to deny DLF of their logistical safe haven and freedom of movement in RAO. I will say again, no later than 1100, Alpha Company 1 Shepherd will conduct a raid on the suspected DLF weapons cache in order to deny DLF of their logistical safe haven and freedom of movement in RAO. Execution. This is just a quick timeline for y'all. From now till 1000, you're going to prep for the raid. From 1000 to 1100, you're going to move to and establish an ORP. So no later than 1000, I want you guys stepping off from this fob. It's a pretty quick timeline. Stepping off from this fob, moving to and establishing an ORP. So you're going to have to find an ORP, right? And then what comes next?
Leaders recon to the objective.
Leaders recon to the objective, right? Alright. 11 to 12, actions on the objective, retrograde back to the ORP, and movement back to the fob. No later than 1200, you are back at the fob. No later than. So if you don't miss your time hack, or if you miss your time hack and you're running too far behind, hey, I'm going to tell you that the enemy moved their weapons cache. Be prepared to deal with a lost soldier, a casualty. Alright, so if you need stuff to deal with those, you better be prepared to deal with that. There you go. Command signal, patrol leader, Santiago, assistant patrol leader, Red, first fire team leader. So I want you to have your first fire team is your assault element, second fire team is support element, and your third fire team is going to be security. Alright, admin logistics. Make sure you guys have comms. You have to draw that from supply, APL. Signal plan, smoke, pyro, air panels, things of that nature. Ammo, etc. You will have a CH-46 Helo Jeep on standby to pick you up if you take a casualty. So knowing that your CASVAC or medevac might be in the form of the Jeep, your pickup site obviously has to be accessible by that, right? So keep that in mind. All right, any questions? Simple enough?
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, time to have fun.
Okay, what you're about to see next is actual footage from this exercise of establishing an ORP. And actually, it's just the second half of the exercise because they had to establish an ORP, as you saw, and then conduct a raid. I was a member of the Op 4 for this since I was a training cadre, and I only have video from the point of view of Op 4. And to give you a little prelude to what you're about to see, we took the mud out there. There were 4 of us on the Op 4. We had a big container that we labeled RPG. You can actually see it in the background here next to Brent's foot. And we set that up at our location. And then the Blue 4, who was the class, went off and did their exercise. They went out, they did establish their ORP, and they did their leader's recon. We actually detected them on that, but did not let them know, so we did not spoil the learning of the exercise. And then we prepared for their arrival, and then we saw them, their assault set in place, and at that point, you know, I walked back to the other Op 4 and just said, hey, they're there, I'm going to go blunder into them and see what they do. So I just literally walked into them on purpose. I did not get a shot off. I died in a hail of gunfire, although I got very close to them. And then once I died and they'd rushed past me, that's when the video starts, and you can see how things flowed from there. And there you have it. They attacked with such violence of action that by the time they've killed me, rushed past me, the other 3 members of the Op 4 have been wiped out, and they think they've blown up the weapons cache. And I say I think because there was some confusion on their part. They thought the Jeep was the weapons cache and totally overlooked the container, with the black container with the yellow lid that was labeled RPG, and didn't blow up the correct thing. For that, though, it was turned into a training opportunity. When it was detonated, they detonated it too fast. They had not cleared the area. So the lead instructor on this Brent 0331 decided to declare a couple people casualties, and all members of the WAC had to go through their self-aid buddy aid drills they had learned the day before, up to and including doing a 9-line and calling in a medevac.
Where's Alpha Team? Leo!
No, they're here.
Have your team in security. I'm going to help handle it.
Yeah, no, we're in security right now.
Combine's harness. Jumps harness, that's nice.
You want a cigarette? Come on. Wounded, yeah, smoke.
Guys, I can still fight.
Sir, Phil, on me!
No. Okay, I'll take it.
Where are you going?
I don't know yet.
Have they called medevac yet?
They're not.
Yeah, don't move it.
Red smoke.
I got smoke, I got
Help
smoke.
them, you can help them. You can detach and help them carry the casualties.
He's fucking tourniqueted already. Security.
All right, let's get this guy moving.
Where are we bringing him? Which
We don't know
way?
where to go.
Have you called medevac yet?
We got to call medevac.
Call that first.
Who's got a radio?
I got radio. They're treated!
Treating him now, sir. Here's some morphine.
Give me a fucking grid.
Not ambulatory.
All right, let's keep it quiet. He's morphined up. He's morphined up.
One's ambulatory, the other one's not.
All right, stand by to copy grid.
Hotel 2-2, this is Delta 3-4, how happy?
Angel.
Hotel 2-2, stand by, copy 9, line over. Line 1, 1-9er, 4-6, 4-8, 1-8, Line 2, Delta 3-4, Line 3, 2 Alpha. Line 4, 2 Alpha, break. Line 5, 1 Lima, 1 Alpha. Line 6, Papa, break. Line 7, Charlie, orange smoke. Line 8, 2 Alpha. Line 9, none. How copy over?
Line 8, 2 Alpha, line 9, none, over.
Good copy, duck out. 9 lines called, stage the patient. Good copy, duck out. Popping smoke, get ready. They're approaching from the north. Don't get too close.
Charlie, secure the LZ, left side of the wood line out front.
Charlie in position.
Let's go.
Hold on, we got it up. Come up, come up. Put him on the hood. Chest first.
So as the morning lane wrapped up, we had an excellent chow, and then the ambush class began for the afternoon. And it started off with a video presentation that I do not have a copy of here, so I apologize for that. But they used the ambush scene from the movie Rules of Engagement to show the violence of action of an ambush. Then the class shifted over to the mechanics of both near and far ambushes, and finally ended up with a presentation by the DoD on the ambush over in Niger back in 2017 that went horribly wrong for the Spec Ops guys that were involved in it. From that point, then the practical app began. And that practical app consisted of the leaders that you see here on your screen planning out where to do their far ambush on a field. Those of us in the OP4 walked through the field and eventually ran into this ambush. It took a few tries, but that was part of the learning objective because it showed how micro-terrain can work with you or against you. And then after the far ambush, there was a quick reset in the field. The students went down a trail, set up a near ambush. Those of us in the OP4 then continued down the trail, and the intent was to walk in and let them do actions on the objective of us once they killed us in the ambush. However, we detected their security element right away, and we reacted, immediately began a peel through smoke, fired away, and withdrew as quick as we could. And that's learning too, because it shows that in an ambush, if everybody's not on their game, something can give you away, and the advantage can go from the ambusher to the intended ambush party.
Will be inserted.
Okay, so after the afternoon ambush class wrapped up, we fell back to the fob, cleaned up, had an excellent chow, and then the night mission began. And the night mission was exactly the same as the day mission, in a different area with different leadership, but it was the same concept. However, what they were told to do was to go out, set up their ambush on an open field. It was our choice of the OPFOR whether we could go in for the near or the far, and then once they had completed their ambush, they were to patrol their way back to the fob. What they didn't know is, but they probably figured out, is that the OPFOR was setting up another ambush for them.
At the barrels, we're going down there to do a rock drill, so just go down there at the barrels, right?
Right. Go ahead.
Barrels.
In order.
We're out of time.
Bravo,
We're out of time.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. Get in alphabetical order.
Get lost and you can't find your way. Panic azimuth, straight north.
Magnetic north?
Straight north towards this road.
Alpha first. Bravo.
Listen up!
Alpha first, Bravo second. Alpha team, get in front. Alpha team right here. Bravo team, get right behind that team. Bravo. Charlie team, right behind Bravo.
We need to be in the
Get a little space between you guys so you guys don't get confused where it's from the beginning.
So I know it looks like a broad daylight, but the truth is it's dusk and getting dark. Merely the Psionics 800 camera that I'm using to film this has a very good feature that turns night into day digitally. Right now what's happening is the leaders of this patrol are getting their members in place to rehearse what they're going to do out on the patrol. It's called a rock drill or rehearsal of concept, and you can check out the end credits or the link below for a video we've done on that previously to go over the concept. What they're doing right now is they're working out all the kinks and problems of the patrol before they get out there. They're making sure everybody understands what they have to do. They're making sure that everybody knows every part of the plan, from how they'll insert to how they exfil. Okay, what you're about to see here is the image taken through the ATM thermal imager scope camera I was using. And stay tuned for future episodes. We're going to do a review of this camera in a tactical setting. That being said, you're catching us as we're moving into the ambush area. We knew they were ambushing a field. We had the option as the OPFOR to follow the tree line and do a near ambush, or walk through the field and let it be a far ambush. We chose to make it a near. And what you'll see here is as we come up on the OPFOR, right about the time we get auditory detection, we get a visual detection here with a thermal scope, although it really just looks like a sparkling of light through the woods. You don't really get a distinct image. And then the firefight kicked off. One of the things you will not hear here is the miles gear going off, registering the hits, and I think that was due to the dense vegetation. There was good violence of action as far as the volume of fire went, so basically the OPFOR at a certain point we just kind of counted ourselves out and laid down, and then from there we picked up and we set in a further ambush for them later. Here's thermal of the second ambush. To give you the setup, we had moved back an entire field and we had set up in a position that would allow us to cover the field, the tree line, and the road. I took the field and used the high grass to my advantage. I simply just laid down in the high grass, and you can kind of see that here in the video. Another member of the OPFOR stayed right on the tree line, so if the enemy came into the field and hugged the tree line down the field side, he was there to engage them. And the last member of the OPFOR just stayed on the tree line, but covering the road side should people come down that way. Now, what my plan was here, as they came in, I had a light support weapon, so I would just send out bursts into them until my ammunition was expended, and then I would just boogie out of that position and fall back to another position where I could observe the battle through the thermal sight.
Gentlemen? I am out. Yep.
Okay, so I've expended a magazine of ammunition, and what's happened is, running down the road, I found a magazine that somebody must have dropped from a previous exercise during the day or perhaps days earlier, and it was just a lucky happenstance to find the night. Popped it in. I only had a few shots left in it, unfortunately, so I took the chance to loose a few at the students, and then I ran back to a position that I had at the edge of the field and really just stayed there for the purposes of viewing them as they reacted to the second OPFOR member who was covering the tree line, and they take actions to maneuver on him, and then they take some actions against the third OPFOR member who actually got in behind them. And finally, they assault my position. Now, I'm not firing at them at all. I'm just observing them as they move on me, and they're doing an excellent job. The first ambush was kind of shaky, but this one, their reaction to finding us and maneuvering on us was just top-notch and outstanding. Okay, so day 2 of the STX begins like all days at One Shepherd with PT bayonet drills again. After that, we had some excellent chow, and then from chow, we moved into our class on route reconnaissance taught by yours truly.
You're only going to get the...
Alright, so today's class is about route reconnaissance. And one of the things I thought that illustrate the point best, because I don't have a cool motivating movie with Samuel L. Jackson in it, is that I would show you a real world route reconnaissance mission I was tasked with conducting during Operation Desert Shield. After the route reconnaissance class, the mission that the students were given for conducting a route reconnaissance was they were told the FOB they were in was a former coalition FOB, and that it had been left by a coalition partner due to some time ago, and that we were going to reoccupy that FOB for future operations in the area. And the mission was to go recon both activity on the FOB and on the routes of approach to it to see what enemy activity was in the area and what the locals were doing. So the students were inserted by deuce and a half about a kilometer away. They moved and set up an ORP and then sent out 3 squads to observe the main supply route to the north, and then a second squad to observe the fob from the south, and third squad was going around the far side of the fob to observe it from the southwest corner, and their mission was to make note of all traffic in the area, what type of vehicles they were seeing, what civilian versus military, and also who was occupying, if anybody, the fob, and if so, what were they doing. So this 2-day STX covered a lot of ground. It went over ORP, it went over near and far ambushes, both in day and night, and then it went over route reconnaissance. All these tactics were going to come into play in the FTX and the missions that we were assigned, so stay tuned for the FTX video coming shortly. We hope you're finding this coverage of the One Shepherd Fall Semester at the CMTC in Missouri helpful and informative. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in for future One Shepherd videos.